हेलो डियर स्टूडेंट्स, गुड मॉर्निंग। चलो आज मॉर्निंग वॉक के लिए रेलवे स्टेशन तक चलते हैं। क्या देखते हैं स्टेशन पर? देखिए, दिस पर्सन ओ इज स्टैंडिंग ऑन द प्लेटफॉर्म, ही इज एट रेस्ट। A train is moving in front of him from east to west with 40 km per hour. This girl G and boy B is sitting in the same bogie of the train. Now if O has to describe the motion of G, how he will describe the motion of G? O will say that G is moving towards west with 40 km per hour. At the same time, if B has to describe the motion of G, how he will describe the motion? देखिए इसको, इसके एक्सप्रेशन देख के लग रहा है कि इसकी चवन्नी कम है। वो क्या बोल रहा है जी के मोशन के बारे में? अरे, जब भी देख रहा हूं यहीं पे बैठी हुई, जबकि तो ट्रेन चल रही है। And what B and G has to say about the motion of O? ये ट्रेन मूव हो रही है वेस्ट की तरफ, और ये जब आगे जा रहे थे उनको क्या लग रहा है, ये O जो है वो पीछे चला जा रहा है। तो they will describe the motion of O as O is moving towards east with 40 km per hour. तो हर एक जो है दूसरे की मोशन जब डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है तो डिस्क्रिप्शन अलग अलग आ रहा है। क्यों हो रहा है ऐसे? बिकॉज मोशन इज अ रिलेटिव कंसेप्ट। देखिए, जब हर एक मोशन डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है तो डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू समथिंग। अब ये समथिंग क्या है? सो द मोशन इज डिस्क्राइब विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू अ फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरेंस। व्हाट इज दिस फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरेंस? A frame in which an observer is situated and makes his observation is called as his frame of reference. मतलब ये जो O है उसकी frame of reference क्या है? ये प्लेटफॉर्म जिस पे ये खड़ा हुआ है, and the platform is at rest. So the frame of reference is at rest, and O is describing the motion of G with respect to the platform. Whereas the frame of reference of G and B is the bogie of the train, which is moving towards west with 40 km per hour. So without a frame of reference, state of rest and state of motion are meaningless. So usually a coordinate system with suitable origin is enough to describe a frame of reference. So let us discuss more about this frame of reference in today's lecture. So in the second lecture of this lesson number 4, laws of motion, today we are going to discuss about frames of reference and types of forces. Let us define the frame of reference. A system of coordinate axes with reference to which position or motion of object is described is called a frame of reference. Now this frame of reference can be anything which is at rest or moving with uniform motion or which is in accelerated motion. So the frame of reference are of two types. The first type is inertial frame of reference. We know the meaning of inertia. A frame of reference in which Newton's first law is applicable is called inertial frame of reference. Actually, it is a frame of reference which is at rest or moving with uniform velocity along a straight line. So here, in this frame of reference, Newton's first law is applicable. Means if no force is acting, there is no acceleration. Force is zero, acceleration is zero. So this is called as non-accelerated frame of reference, or it is also called as Newtonian frame of reference or Galilean frame of reference. So a rocket in intergalactic space. What is an intergalactic space? It is a gravity-free space between galaxies. So a rocket in intergalactic space with all its engines shut means no net force is acting on it. So it is an example of, or you can say that it is near to an ideal inertial frame of reference. Ideally, no inertial frame exists in universe. For practical purpose, a frame of reference, inertial frame of reference can be considered as a frame whose acceleration is negligible with respect to the acceleration of the object which is being observed, or the acceleration of the object whose motion is being described. So to measure the acceleration of a falling apple on ground, Earth can be considered as an inertial frame. But if you have to observe the motion of planets as Earth moves around the sun, Earth cannot be considered as an inertial frame of reference. So to observe the motion of planets, Earth cannot be considered as inertial frame of reference. But for this purpose, the sun may be assumed to be an inertial frame of reference. Okay, is it clear? The other type is non-inertial frame of reference. A frame of reference in which an object suffers acceleration in absence of net force is called non-inertial frame of reference. अब ये कैसे पॉसिबल है कि ऑब्जेक्ट एक्सेलरेशन भी ऑब्जेक्ट में सफर प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है और फोर्स भी नहीं लग रहा है? ये तो न्यूटन फर्स्ट लॉ के बिल्कुल खिलाफ है। मतलब यहाँ पे क्या है कि फोर्स जीरो है लेकिन एक्सेलरेशन जीरो नहीं है। तो ये मतलब यहाँ पर क्या हुआ कि न्यूटन फर्स्ट लॉ ऑफ मोशन इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल टू दिस नॉन इनर्शियल फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरेंस. It is also called as an accelerated frame of reference. So the example of non-inertial frame of reference is a car which just starts its motion from rest. मतलब जब वो कार स्टार्ट होती है तो वो accelerated motion में होती है. So then during the time of acceleration, the car will be in the non-inertial, or the car will be the non-inertial frame of reference. Is it clear? तो ऑब्जर्वेशन जो है एक ही ऑब्जेक्ट के बारे में अगर इनर्शियल फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरेंस से अगर हम ऑब्जर्व करें और नॉन इनर्शियल फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरेंस से ऑब्जर्व करें तो ऑब्जर्वेशन विल बी डिफरेंट. फॉर एग्जांपल, consider a bus which is moving with a constant velocity in the direction which is shown here. Now a ball is in the bus. So the direction of velocity of the ball is same as that of a bus for an observer which is on ground. So how the observer will describe the motion of the ball who is standing on the ground? He will say that the ball is moving with the velocity of the bus in the same direction in which the bus is moving. But for a person sitting in the bus, the ball is at rest. So in this case, the bus which is moving with uniform velocity is a inertial frame of reference. If brakes are applied to the bus, now what will be the observation? When the brakes are applied to the bus, the force is exerted on the bus, not on the ball. So the bus will slow down. So retardation will be produced. So the acceleration in this case will be directed in the opposite direction to the velocity. But for the person sitting in the bus, the ball is in accelerated motion without acted upon by a force, which is not in accordance with the first law of motion. तो यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है? न्यूटन फर्स्ट लॉ एप्लीकेबल नहीं हो रहा क्योंकि बॉल पे तो कोई फोर्स एक्ट नहीं हो रहा, लेकिन बस जैसे ही रिटार्ड होती है, जैसे ही ब्रेक्स लगते हैं, बॉल सीधा आगे चला जाता है. तो बस में जो बैठा हुआ जो पर्सन है वो क्या कहता है? दिस बॉल इज इन एक्सेलरेटेड मोशन, whereas no force is acting on the ball. So Newton's first law is not applicable in this frame of reference. This is the non-inertial frame of reference. So when the brakes are applied and retardation is produced, now the bus acts as a non-inertial frame of reference. So to make the Newton's first law applicable to the non-inertial frame of reference, we consider pseudo force. We are going to discuss about the pseudo force later on in the same lecture. So I hope the idea about the inertial frame of reference and non-inertial frame of reference is clear to you. To make it more clear, let us have a comparative study of inertial frame of reference and non-inertial frame of reference. So what is the inertial frame of reference? See, the question may be asked for 2 marks. Distinguish between inertial frame of reference and non-inertial frame of reference. So you should write at least these 4 points. At least 4 points should be written for 2 marks. A frame of reference either at rest or moving with uniform velocity, that is zero acceleration, is known as inertial frame or non-accelerated frame of reference. Whereas a frame of reference which is either having a uniform linear acceleration or is being rotated with uniform speed is a non-inertial frame of reference. Inertial frame, see L is like not printed here. So inertial frames of reference are those reference frames in which Newton's laws are valid, whereas non-inertial frames of reference are those reference frames in which Newton's laws are invalid. In inertial frame of reference, zero force corresponds to zero acceleration. We have already discussed here. F is zero, acceleration is zero. In non-inertial frame of reference, it should be frame of reference here. So in non-inertial frame of reference, zero force doesn't correspond to zero acceleration. Even if force is zero, acceleration is not zero. So the example of an inertial frame of reference is a train moving with uniform velocity, and the example of non-inertial frame of reference is a freely falling elevator. Okay, so it may be considered as a non-inertial frame of reference. Now let us discuss more about forces. All the fundamental forces in nature are divided into these four types as it is seen on the screen: gravitational force, electromagnetic force, weak nuclear force, and strong nuclear force. These pictures will make it clear how important these forces are. The strong nuclear force binds the nucleus. Electromagnetic force binds atoms. Gravitational force binds the solar system. And weak nuclear force results in radioactive decay. So let us discuss more about this important part of our nature, that is these four types of forces. Let us start our discussion about fundamental forces in nature from the gravitational force. Force of attraction between two point masses separated by a distance is called gravitational force. Now let me tell you what is meant by point masses. Object with zero dimension is considered as a point mass. Actually, point mass is a mathematical concept to simplify the problems. But though the gravitational force is expressed here in terms of the point masses, all bodies exert the force of attraction, that is the gravitational force, on each other. So consider two objects with masses m1 and m2 separated by a distance r. So each of these two will experience a force of attraction which is directly proportional to the product of their masses. So this gravitational force is directly proportional to m1 into m2 and is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. So r is the distance between them. So f is inversely proportional to r square. So combining this, we can write f is directly proportional to m1 into m2 divided by r square. When you remove the proportionality sign, we write it as f is equal to g into m1 m2 upon r square, where this g is the universal gravitational constant. So this law holds good for all the bodies. Every body in the universe exerts a force of attraction, that is the gravitational force, on each other. See here, what we can see is a planetary motion. So the structure of universe is governed by this force. Now, as we can see that the gravitational force is also there between these planets. These planets are huge objects, but still the gravitational force of attraction is there between these planets, and the planetary motion is due to the gravitational force between the gravitational force, that is the force of attraction between these planets. Now this gravitational force is always attractive. These are the characteristics of gravitational force. The first characteristic is it is always attractive. It is the weakest force in nature. So out of the four fundamental forces in nature, gravitational force is the weakest force. Its range is infinite. Whatever may be the distance between the two objects, whether it is large or small, this gravitational force of attraction will always be there. See, the distance between the planets is too large, but still this force is there between them. So the range of this force is infinite. It obeys inverse square law. We know that this F is directly proportional to 1 upon r square, or we can say that is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. Smaller is the distance, larger will be the force. Greater is the distance, smaller will be the force. So it varies inversely with the square of the distance between the two objects which are exerting the force of attraction on each other. So it obeys inverse square law. Now here what we can see is a person standing on the earth. Now, the common experience of this force for us is the gravitational force exerted by earth on us, and we call it as our weight. Because we know that weight of the person always acts in downward direction, which is given by m into g, where m is the mass of the person and g is the acceleration due to gravity. Now this weight is always directed towards the center of earth because g is directed towards the center of the earth. Now if this is action, according to Newton's third law, as a reaction, earth will also exert an equal and opposite force, which is called as a normal reaction. So we experience our weight, which is nothing but the normal reaction exerted by earth on the person. Okay, let us study it in details. Now if W is the weight, that is a normal reaction, we know that this force is equal to G into mass of the first object into mass of the second object divided by the square of distance between them. Now let capital M be the mass of the earth, small m be the mass of the person, and r is the distance between the person and the center of the earth. So the distance between the person and the center of earth is equal to radius of the earth, which is 6400 kilometer. The value of G is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 SI units, and mass of the earth is 6 into 10 raised to 24 kg. When you substitute the values of capital M, capital G and R square, we get this value is equal to 9.8 meter per second square, which is nothing but the value of G, that is acceleration due to gravity. So substituting the value of capital G, capital M divided G into M divided by R square, we get W is equal to M into G. So what is the weight of the person? It is nothing but the normal reaction exerted by earth on the person. So this gravitational force is also an action reaction pair. Is it clear? Now what we can see on the screen is a pair of bar magnets with north pole of each bar magnet facing to each other. So like poles are together here. Here we have a pair of unlike charges. Here we have pair of like charges. Now we know that like poles repel each other. Similarly, like charges repel each other. Unlike poles attract each other. Similarly, unlike charges attract each other. So this force is nothing but the electromagnetic force. So the attractive and repulsive force between electrically charged particles is called as electromagnetic force. The characteristics of electromagnetic force are it can be attractive or repulsive. Here what we can say is two charges Q1 and Q2 separated by a distance r. If they are like charges, means both are positive or both are negative. Or if they are unlike charge, that is one is positive, another is negative. They are separated by a distance of r. And whatever may be the force, whether it is a force of attraction or force of repulsion between them, it is given by Coulomb's law. So according to Coulomb's, the force of attraction or repulsion between two charges separated by a distance r is directly proportional to the product of the two charges. So force is directly proportional to Q1 into Q2 and is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. So here we have the Coulomb force of attraction or repulsion between two like or unlike charges is equal to K, where K is the constant of proportionality. Q1 into Q2 upon R square. Wait a minute. Just now we have discussed about a gravitational force. So the magnitude of gravitational force is directly proportional to the product of the masses of the two objects and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. So this Coulomb's force exactly resembles with the gravitational force. So the magnitude of Coulomb force is K into Q1 Q2 upon R square. So here we stated about the charges, the force of attraction or repulsion between the charges, and the gravitational force is the force of attraction between two point masses or any two bodies. It is short range force. So the range of this force is short. It acts for a limited distance. Now, majority of forces are electromagnetic in nature. Our life is practically governed by these forces. Now, which are these forces? Force of friction, normal reaction, tension in string, collision forces, elastic forces, fluid friction. These are all electromagnetic in nature. So, due to these forces, deformation of objects takes place and the intermolecular distance change resulting into reaction forces. Now these electromagnetic forces are also called as Lorentz forces. Okay? Just remember they are also called as Lorentz forces. It obeys inverse square law. See again here. More is the distance between the two charged particles, less will be the force of attraction or repulsion. Less is the distance between the two charges, more will be the force of attraction or repulsion. So it varies inversely with the square of distance between the two charges. Hence, it obeys inverse square law. Here we have a pair of unlike charges. Here we have a pair of like charges. See the direction of forces. Positive charge attracts negative charge. So this is the direction of the force which is experienced by a negative charge due to positive charge. The negative charge will attract the positive charge. So this is the direction of the force experienced by positive charge due to negative charge. When the repulsive forces acts between two like charges, each charge will try to repel the other one. So this is the direction of the force experienced by this charge due to this. So this will try to push it away from it. And this is the direction of the force experienced by this positive charge due to this. So this force will try to push this positive charge away from this charge. So this is how the attractive force and repulsive force between two unlike charges and like charges act. Now we are going to discuss about the weak nuclear force. As you can see in this GIF, the force of interaction between subatomic particles. Now which are subatomic particles? Neutron, proton, electron. These are all subatomic particles. So the force of interaction between subatomic particles which result in the radioactive decay of atom is called weak nuclear force. Now beta decay is a common example of this weak nuclear force. What happens in beta decay? The nucleus emits an electron and an uncharged particle called neutrino. Because of this weak nuclear force, one particle changes into other. For example, neutron into proton or proton into neutron. How it is possible? Due to exchange of quarks. What are quarks? Protons and neutrons are built of elementary particles, and these elementary particles are called as quarks. So because of exchange of quarks, this change is possible and energy is released in the form of radiations. So radium, plutonium, carbon-14 element, these are obtained on account of this weak nuclear force. Let us discuss some characteristics of this weak nuclear force. It acts between any two elementary particles. We have already discussed it acts between subatomic particles like proton, neutron, electron. It is stronger than gravitational force. See, electromagnetic force is also stronger than gravitational force. But this weak nuclear force, which is stronger than stronger than gravitational force is much weaker than electromagnetic force. It is short range force of the order of 10 raised to minus 16 meter. Obviously, as it acts between subatomic particles, the distance between subatomic particles is very short, very small. So the range of this force is of the order of 10 raised to minus 16 meter. When you say nucleus, what comes in your mind? Obviously, protons and neutrons. What binds them together? Strong nuclear force. So the strong force which binds proton and neutron together in the nucleus of an atom is called strong nuclear force. It's a very strong attractive force. Let us discuss the characteristics of this strong nuclear force. But before that, let us have some other discussion. Rutherford has given us the model of atom. Now, according to Rutherford's model of atom, an atom consists of a nucleus at its center with protons and neutrons in it, and electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Now, why this force is a very strong attractive force? You know that protons are positively charged and neutrons are neutral. Now, positive charges, that is like charges, always repel each other. Now, there are a number of protons in the nucleus. So just imagine you have to bind the repelling charges, the charges which are repelling each other together. So to bind these repelling charges together, the force must be very strong. And that's why this nuclear force is a strong attractive force. लेकिन कितने सारे प्रोटॉन्स एक साथ बांध करके रख सकता है ये स्ट्रॉन्ग न्यूक्लियर फोर्स? बिकॉज देयर आर नंबर ऑफ प्रोटॉन्स इन इट. तो कितना बांध देगा बेचारा? अगर ये 83 तक है तो ठीक है. The strong nuclear force will work till the number of protons in the nucleus are not exceeding a number 83. लेकिन अगर ये नंबर 83 से ज्यादा होता है तो क्या होता है इस केस में? रेडिएशंस होते हैं जो हमने वीक न्यूक्लियर फोर्स के केस में देखे थे. तो वीक न्यूक्लियर फोर्स होता ही उन सब एटॉमिक पार्टिकल्स में है जहां पर नंबर ऑफ प्रोटॉन्स जो है वो 83 से ऊपर होते हैं और उसके जो रिजल्ट जो है वो रेडिएशन में हो जाता है. इट इज short range force of the order of 10 raised to minus 14 meter. Obviously, अगर ये न्यूक्लियस के अंदर काम कर रहा है तो उसकी रेंज शॉर्ट ही होगी, न्यूक्लियस की साइज जितनी होगी उसके हिसाब से. तो it is a short range force of the order of 10 raised to minus 14 meter. It is charge independent. It acts equally between a proton and a proton, a neutron and a neutron, and a proton and a न्यूट्रॉन. क्योंकि न्यूक्लियस को सिर्फ प्रोटॉन प्रोटॉन साथ में बांध के रखने नहीं है, प्रोटॉन्स और न्यूट्रॉन्स भी साथ में बांध के रखने हैं. तो ये जो फोर्स है इट इज अ चार्ज इंडिपेंडेंट. तो इक्वली एक्ट होता है प्रोटॉन प्रोटॉन के बीच में, न्यूट्रॉन न्यूट्रॉन के बीच में, या तो प्रोटॉन और न्यूट्रॉन के बीच में. So what we have studied about the fundamental forces in nature as the strong nuclear force is the strongest of all and gravitational force is the weakest force. Electromagnetic force is stronger than weak nuclear force but weaker than strong nuclear force, whereas weak nuclear force is stronger than gravitational force but weaker than electromagnetic force. Now the nature of force is strong nuclear force is a strong force of attraction which binds the nucleons. Electromagnetic force is a force of attraction or repulsion between the electrically charged particles. Weak nuclear force is an interactive force between subatomic particles, and gravitational force is a force of attraction between 2 point masses, or we have already discussed that all bodies exert a gravitational force on each other, which is a force of attraction. So something more interesting about these fundamental forces in nature in the next lecture. See you soon. Thank you.